I've been using the Eye Mini Lite in my home sim for a few months. I've hit thousands of balls. I can contrast it with TrackMan and Foresight, which I've used at commercial simulators, and my old SkyTrak OG, which I had for years. I've actually looked online as well at a lot of comparisons with the Uneekor and against TrackMan and Foresight, and I'll get to that a little bit later. The first thing I noticed, and it matters more than I expected, is how simple and reliable this setup actually is. The first thing is it's wired. So it's just plugged into the power outlet and the Ethernet cable goes right to the computer. There's no connectivity issues. You load the software after you plug it in and it just detects the units. I really like that. My old SkyTrak dropped the connection constantly. And that simplicity becomes a theme as you use it more and more. Once it was set up, the next thing that stood out was how solid this unit is in day-to-day use. So number two, this thing sits right beside the hitting bay here, not too far from the screen, and it's a solid unit. You do not have to worry about balls coming back and bouncing off this thing or even bumping into it. It's pretty heavy. Full comfort in swinging away here and not worrying about the occasional ricochet or whatever. So that's number two, solid unit. And so what did surprise me, and it's coming up, is the data you get from this unit. That's where things get a lot more interesting. When you hear Eye Mini Lite, you're thinking light. But when you look at all the data that it collects, and it collects 19 data points, there is a lot here. You get attack angle, backspin, how the ball flew, ball speed, the carry, club path, left or right. Was it in to out? Was it out to in? Club speed. I mean, it goes on and on. This is what kind of surprised me, that there was this much data to this. I knew it was good, but it really has everything you need for a home simulator. For most golfers at home, this is going to be plenty. You can just start working on your swing and stop worrying about what data it's collecting or not collecting. You've got a lot here. Once you start trusting the data, the next question is, what can you actually do with it? The reality is you get all the software that Uneekor offers, and it can run it all. So it'll run View, it runs GameDay, it runs Refine Plus. If you want GSPro, it'll run it. So it's totally versatile. This is not a light unit in any manner. When you're talking about what software it runs it all. For a home simulator, I can do it all. I can play golf courses, I can play Augusta, I can play online tournaments. I can work on my swing. I can do short game competitions. It meets all the requirements of a home simulator. All of this sounds great, but it only matters if the price makes sense. So if you're looking at price, you get what you pay for, right? So you're getting a full home sim here, but you're not getting the portability. So the Uneekor Eye Mini, portable, take it to the golf course, etc. But the Eye Mini Lite does everything that one does. It just has to be wired. So that's why you're paying less. It's the portability, $23.38 right now on playbetter.com. But I'd watch for a sale. So at Christmas and Black Friday, I got this thing for $19.95. So watch for sales. For a home simulator, this hits kind of a sweet spot. None of this really matters if you don't trust the numbers. In my own use, the numbers have been very consistent and accurate, and there's no misreads. Occasionally, I'll put the ball down and hit it too soon or my light goes green. But I mean, you do that with Foresight as well. So in my own use, it's been very accurate. You know, it's exactly what I'm seeing at the TrackMan or even on the golf course. And you're not seeing any stray balls. You're not seeing any misreads, really. But yeah, super accurate. And I'll link to a few other content creators who've done tests against TrackMan, against Foresight, and they've all had similar results. It's really close. I mean, you're not going to really notice the difference. So I totally trust the data now. And now it's just a point of working on my game, which is, always the case. So all the benefits of the Uneekor only make sense if you're good with the trade-offs. And there's a couple you really need to be clear about. So let's take a look at those. Obviously, things to consider. This would be a con if you want to use it for this purpose, but this thing's wired to this computer right now. It's wired to a desktop, so it's not going anywhere. It's not going to the golf course with you. It's not portable. It doesn't have a battery, so it's got to be plugged into electricity as well. That's definitely going to be a con for some people. And it's also tough because there's cables to move it from lefties to righties. You can do it, and I've seen people online do it, but you need long cables, and you got to move it between shots if you're doing a tournament. So that's kind of a pain. Something I'm not going to do. I won't be inviting lefties over. So I'll call this con number two. There's really not a lot of help anywhere on the screen in View, in Refine, with GameDay. So that's the Uneekor software. There's no help sections. There's a FAQ on site. I think GameDay is coming out with a manual, but there's no manual for Refine. So there's a lot of things in there that are just a little quirky and tough to figure out. And I only find them by searching golf simulator forums. Otherwise, you're kind of lost. So there's not a lot of help out there with Uneekor. So they got to work on that. So my third con is the software. The View software, which is the free driving range, is actually excellent. So I have no issues with that. Then you get onto the premium, you go Refine Plus, and then you're dealing with another driving range, which is actually excellent. And then you get some courses as well. Five courses, I think, is Refine. And then I think it might be 20 for Refine Plus. I'll have to look into that. But it's also weird that there's GameDay, which is another additional $199 or an upgrade to a different level, which has another driving range, which is also good, and also different golf courses, which are good, but I'm not sure I want to pay an extra $199 for it. And then I also have GSPro, which has a driving range. So a bit confused about that. So just some quirky things with the software. So after living with this for a while, I'll say this is not a unit for everyone. If you want a portable unit, it's not for you. But if you want it as a home golf simulator, for the most part, just for yourself, it really fits the bill. It delivers accurate, consistent data. I mean, it's exactly what you need if you want to practice and get better. I think if you're okay with the trade-offs, you're not going to second guess this as a purchase. And I'll link to some of the other analysis, as I said, in description by other content creators talking about the consistency of the unit. But again, you got to be good with the trade-offs. So I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you have any questions about the Eye Mini Lite.